I went from not being able to approach a girl without shaking to making thousands of approaches in my life, going on hundreds of dates and building up my ideal dating life. And now I help other guys do the same thing. I put together a 2-hour movie of all the best mindsets, all the best tactics that I've learned from getting out of the friend zone to becoming a guy that now women take seriously, gets regular dates, and has a lot of options. So whether you want to get out of the friend zone, crush your approach anxiety, or just generally get better with women and understand what you're doing wrong so you can have more of a process, this movie will have a ton of advice for you. So sit back, enjoy, play this in the background while you're doing your workout, doing something, driving to work, whatever it is. I'll see you on the other side. In the last 30 days, I approached 50 different women using 2 wildly different strategies for approaching them. First, I used a very common strategy of being very nice, respectful, and sweet, and very complimentary to the girl. And second, I used a very bold, assertive, but still very direct strategy, unapologetic, raw, and really not giving a fuck. And I came away with a few key lessons that I think you're going to want in this video. If you're a guy that's too nice, you get stuck in your head, you hesitate, you're afraid to go up to women, and especially if you get friend zoned and women don't take you seriously, this video is going to very much help you take your nice guy approaches that aren't going to get results. I'll talk about the results I got with this approach in a second, and take them into a more bold direction. I'm going to give you the solution for how to have a more bold and confident approach when you go and talk to women. So first, what's the difference between the nice complimentary approach and the sweet guy approach and the bold and assertive approach? A lot of it comes down to how I carried myself and what I chose to talk about in the interaction. So with the nice guy approach, what I would do is I would go up to a girl. I would say, hey, excuse me, I thought you were really cute and I wanted to meet you. But my voice was kind of soft. I sounded like I was walking on eggshells, and I really just sounded like I was scared to be there. And I'll actually show you a couple clips right now of what that actually looked like. Hey, excuse me. I just thought you were very cute. What's your name? Excuse me. I thought you were really cute. I was about to leave, so I wanted to introduce myself.
Hi, I do have a boyfriend.
Okay, cool. So I've been walking around getting my steps in, and I just thought you were really cute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
What's your name? Sorry, not to like bother you. I just thought you were very cute.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What's your name?
I do have a boyfriend.
Fuck. All right. Brutal, but all good.
It was so nice meeting you, though.
Yeah. Have a good day. Now with the bold and more direct approach, I focused more on speaking louder, making sure she could hear me, and opening up from far enough away so that she knew I was talking to her. She had time to break out of autopilot, and I had a more commanding presence in the interaction. I also was standing in closer proximity. I held better eye contact. I was just in general giving less of a fuck. I made sure I never apologized. I made sure I was very assertive and almost cocky. I had kind of a cocky entitlement mindset going into this, and you can actually see a big difference. You guys just watched the nice guy approach. Here's an example of a couple approaches that went better when I used the assertive approach. So I'm waiting for my coffee. I thought I would come over and hit on you really quick, and we'll see where it goes. You know, not sure yet, but what's your name?
Haley.
Hi. I thought you looked very cute and peaceful. I liked the tattoos.
you.
Yeah. What's your name? Hey, excuse me. We made eye contact for like 3 seconds, and I'm like, I gotta come back. Good. You're fucking exactly my type, so that's good.
I was just telling her you're my type.
Fucking perfect. Yeah, tall white guy. Excuse me. Super random. I like totally chased you down, so that's my bad. I thought you were really cute. And I passed you. I like pussied out. And I was like, no, fuck, I gotta go back.
Well,
So,
thank you.
yeah, what's your name? So what are the actual results? I had 25 approaches where I was this nice guy, and I had 25 approaches where I was this bold, assertive, borderline asshole when I approached. Kind of asshole mindset. I wasn't saying anything like offend girls, but I was much more, I don't give a fuck if you want to talk to me or not. I'm going to attempt to talk to you. I'm entitled to try and talk to you. That's kind of the mindset that I would go into these approaches with. What I noticed in general was that most of my interactions were overwhelmingly positive. I got overwhelmingly positive reactions because women like to be approached and they like getting compliments. That is just what it is. And if you're a guy that is afraid to approach, then the first thing to understand is that, like, women actually want to be approached. They just don't want to be approached in a super creepy and desperate way. But if you go up with genuinely good intentions and you're just trying to make her day, if you're actually trying to do that, which is what I was doing with both of these approaches, it actually is kind of fun. You're going to get a lot of good reactions. What I did notice though is, even though I got positive reactions when I was approaching girls that in this like nice way, I got a lot of positive reactions, but I got a lot of boyfriend objections. I got a lot of, oh, thank you, but I'm actually seeing someone. or I got a lot of, her not being interested. And I also actually, the times where I would get ignored and blown out were when I was being nice. When you come up and you're very nice and you're walking on eggshells and you're afraid to offend the girl, you're afraid that you're stepping out of line by talking to her, what you're saying is, I'm not confident in my approach. And so because she's in her comfort zone, she's in her comfort bubble, she's happy with just walking about her day and I'm fine, I don't want to talk to anybody. If you don't break her out of that by having a more bold and assertive approach, she is going to more than likely stay in that comfort zone and not want to talk to you. So probably half my approaches, I would get totally fucking blown out, kind of like this.
You're just very cute. You're very my type.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's your name? Nice to meet you. Oh, okay, are you leaving? All right, that's fine. Bye. Excuse me. You're very beautiful.
Thank you.
What's your name? No, brutal. Hey, excuse me. You are very pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day. Fuck. Hey, excuse me. Just really quick. Okay. All good.
And then the other approaches, I would get a lot of boyfriend objections, but I never really got any numbers. And if I did get a number, the girl didn't really text me back. She didn't really text me whenever I texted her my name. Like, it wasn't, nothing really came of it, right? Because it was very superficial. It was nice and it was friendly and it was sweet that I did that. And maybe it took some confidence, but it didn't really come off very high value. Now, with the more bold approach, I still got a lot of overwhelmingly good reactions. But what happened was women, I could tell, took me more seriously. And there are 3 steps to making your nice guy interactions more bold. And I'll get into very specific things that I do in just a second on how to do that. But it was very clear that by having this very direct but assertive and bold and I don't give a fuck attitude, just focusing on being the most obnoxiously unfiltered version of myself, that women had a lot of respect for me. Even the boyfriend objections came off differently. They came off disappointed. They came off like, oh man, like I kind of wish I could go on a date with this guy, but I have a boyfriend. Not, oh, I have a boyfriend, so get the fuck away from me. And if you are a guy that's a nice guy and you're used to women not taking you seriously, you don't even know what this feels like for women to actually see you as an option. And when I would get phone numbers, I actually had girls texting me back. I had girls thanking me for being so bold and assertive. There was actually a girl, I'll show in a second. I passed her and I pussied out. And then I went back and I approached her. I was like, hey, I totally had to chase you down because I pussied out for a second and now I'm here. And you can see the clip right now.
Excuse me. Super random. I totally chased you down, so that's my bad. I thought you were really cute.
Okay.
And I passed you. I pussied out. And I was like, no, fuck, I gotta go back.
Well,
So,
thank you.
yeah, what's your name?
And when you have this bold, authentic, I don't give a fuck how you perceive me, I'm just going for what I want type of attitude, women take you seriously. They thank you for pursuing them and going up to talk to them. They thank you for going for what you want because that is very attractive and it commands respect. And this is a big thing that I think a lot of guys don't realize. You're not commanding respect with how you approach. You're being nice. You're being a sweet guy. You're making them feel good about themselves. But it's not coming from a place of, I'm a fucking man and I'm going for what I want. And at the end of the day, you have to be a little bit more savage. So what are the 3 things that you can do to take your kind of nice guy approaches and turn them into something that is more assertive and bold and dominant? 1, open loud and open early. Okay. What I mean by that is when she's 15 feet away and you're walking the same, opposite directions on the sidewalk, open from there. Hey, excuse me. Loud. Talk as if you're talking 20 feet past her. If it comes off like you're yelling, maybe it will. But you need to break her out of autopilot. You need to have a very wide open body language. Open loud, open early. If you wait until you're right up next to her, she's going to think you have something to sell her. She's going to think you have an agenda. She's going to think that you're not friendly, even though you actually are. She's going to think you have bad intentions because you're hiding it. And yeah, if other people are around, the mindset really is, I want these people to fucking know I'm hitting on this girl because I'm that fucking confident. So that's step 1. Open early, open loudly. Here's a couple examples so you actually know what it looks like in action.
Hey, excuse me. I saw you over here looking very peaceful reading. I thought you were very cute. Hi. Super random. I just saw your whole outfit and vibe and I thought it was very cool.
Thank you so much.
So I figured I would come up and say hi.
Hi.
Step number 2 to having a more bold interaction is to state very strong intent at the start and then drop it. Okay? You don't need to harp on about the fact that she's really pretty and oh my God, you're so hot, you're super sexy, right? That's too much. But a lot of guys, they'll be like, hey, excuse me, I thought you were pretty and I wanted to say hi to you. No, you want to go up to her and say, hey, I thought you were really fucking cute. I thought you looked fucking amazing. I wanted to meet you. And then you move on and you talk to her like a normal person. You talk to her like a normal person. You run a normal interaction. I actually have a whole video on how to run interactions. It's called How to Be More Interesting. It's on my channel right now. You can watch that video and you can learn how to have a normal interaction with a woman. But you need to open, if you're scared to do this, you need to open with this very direct approach. It's so much better to tackle the fear of being direct and being very upfront. Like, hey, I thought you looked really fucking good. I thought you looked amazing. I thought you looked very fucking cute. And curse on the open. That actually helps. It's kind of hard to curse on an open if you sound like a pussy, right? Like, hey, I thought you looked really fucking cute. Like, it just comes off weird, right? So you're actually a lot more likely to sound very bold and assertive when you say, hey, I thought you looked really fucking cute. And if you're worried that showing too much intent right off the bat might be too much, it's probably because you're actually just scared. You might think you're being polite, but a lot of times when guys say they're being polite, that's actually a synonym for I'm actually too scared to say what I think. Because you can still be very respectful and be like, wow, you look really fucking good. Wow, you look amazing. You can do that without objectifying her, without overly sexualizing her. You can be very direct, but state it like it's a fact. One way that you can think about it is if you're going to show intent to a girl or tell her that she looks really good, you can just say she looks really attractive without any sort of meaning behind it. Almost like you would say the sky is blue. Like, wow, the sky is blue. You'd be like, wow, you're really hot. Like, it doesn't affect you. And that actually helps a lot. It comes off a lot more attractive because you're not afraid to say that you're attracted to her because you're saying, hey, I'm not going to let how I perceive you and how attractive you are affect how I perceive myself or how I act around you. And that's one of those powerful things, not letting her beauty and her attractiveness control you and not letting that aura kind of take over how you act. Step number 3 with being bold is if you hesitate and you don't approach right away, you didn't lose the opportunity to be bold. You can still go back and talk to her. I just showed you an example of me walking past a girl and then going back and talking to her. You can still do it in a very bold way. You can still approach a girl. If you walk past her, you miss the opportunity, you can be like, man, what kind of man do I want to be today? And you can loop back and you can fucking talk to her. These are the 3 things that you can do to come off a lot more bold in your interactions because you don't want to be having these conversations where you feel like you're walking on eggshells, you're stuck in your head, you're worried about coming off polite and nice, and I want to be respectful. You will be respectful if you're a respectful person, but that doesn't make an excuse not to be bold when you approach. No one ever gets anything in life by going half-ass for something. You have to go full ass, all right? You have to go after what you want, and you have to do it in the most bold and unapologetic way possible, because if you half-ass it, you're gonna look fucking stupid. Over the past 10 years, I've approached thousands of women, and what I've learned from going on hundreds of dates and mastering my own dating life to the point where I'm able to marry my dream girl and have the best dating life for me possible and helping other guys make this transformation is that there are 8 things that women want, but they cannot tell you because the very fact of them telling you will completely kill the vibe. And so these are things that you just honestly are kind of expected to get, but luckily you don't have to just get them on your own anymore. I'm going to tell you what they are in this video. The first thing women want you to do, but they can't tell you to do it or else it will kill the vibe, is they want you to be confident in yourself without necessarily needing to be right. A lot of guys, they think that to be confident, I have to know exactly what I'm doing. To pick a restaurant, I have to know that this is the best restaurant for her. This is the one she wants to go to. What she wants more than anything is a guy that can make a suggestion with full confidence, bass in his voice, say it from his chest, and own the fact that he wants to do this thing. And if she disagrees, that's okay. You can have a discussion and you can adjust and you can be flexible. But she wants you to be certain. So instead of in your interactions with women worrying about being right all the time, which a lot of guys think is confidence, what I want you to focus on is being certain that no matter what this outcome is, I'm going to be fine. That's where real confidence comes from. The second thing that women want you to do, but they can't tell you to do it, is they want you to remain calm when they are not calm. If they start an argument, if they start drama, they want you to remain calm and relaxed. When my girl comes home from work and she's stressed the fuck out and she's whining and she's complaining about something, I go up to her. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. That sucks. And give her a hug. I'm not trying to coach her out of it. I'm not trying to get her to stop being emotional. I'm just trying to be the rock so that she can be going crazy, getting emotional. And that's her venting her feminine energy, letting her feminine energy take back over. If you're dating a girl that has a job, she's fucking man mode all day. She's in this masculine energy, telling people what to do. She's running meetings. She's in meetings where she has to be professional. She has to dress professional when she goes into work. And yeah, she can try to be feminine and playful as much as she wants. But dude, when I call my girl or I talk to any girl that's like in middle of work mode, unless they're like a server or a bartender or something, they are in full blown work mode. They're talking professional. Oh yes, what can I do for you? Oh yes, that is great. So actually what we're going to want to do is go over here and fill out this form and it's going to be great, right? That's how women are talking. And so you need to break her out of that. And that kind of goes for, flirting with women at work. If you're ever going to do that, like you got to break them out of that and be like, hey, it's okay for you to just be feminine and playful and goofy. And you kind of have to take the lead on that and be the image of the masculine, under control, just very calm, relaxed. You don't have to set hard boundaries. If your girl's kind of being a bitch to you, you don't have to be like, hey, I don't appreciate that. That's not being masculine. It's understanding, hey, I get it. You're in a bad mood. Come here. Give her a hug. She doesn't want to hug you. Okay, that's fine. Have your space. And just remain calm. And it might feel like there's a lot of anxiety, like, oh my God, I'm anxious. She's feeling bad. But if you can just resist the urge to give into those temptations and react to her state, she will immediately, very, very quickly, within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm being serious, it feels like magic, feels like fucking black voodoo magic. But when you can get into that state where she can relax, after 10 minutes, she'll come, she'll be like a little feminine kitten, which that's the creepiest thing I've ever said on this channel. But that is kind of what it's like. She'll be all sweet. She'll start sniffing you, like, be all sweet to you. And that happens a lot, but you have to remain very calm. The third thing women want you to do, but they can't say, is they want to actually be touched in the initial interaction. But they can't tell you that, because if they tell you that, then you're probably going to try to touch them in a sexual way. What you want to do is break the touch barrier early in a non-sexual way. That might mean when you shake her hands in a relaxed way, keep holding onto her hand when you introduce yourself to her, or playfully shove her on the shoulder when you're giving her some shit. If you're like, oh my God, this is why it won't work between us. And you playfully shove her. You don't like shove her to the ground and like push her and beat her up, but you just kind of playfully shove her. These things that you can do show, hey, I can touch a woman without being overly sexual. And that also implies no fear of loss. That shows you're not afraid to offend her, that you can connect with her on a physical level without expectations or an agenda. Women are very finely tuned to understand if a guy has an agenda when he's talking to her. And it's very, very clear to them when you have an agenda, when you're touching her in a very sexual way, when you guys aren't actually being intimate together and you just met or you're on a date and it's not a sexual thing. The next thing women want you to do is offer some emotional variety. You can't just go up to her and be super complimentary. That's not super fun. You want to go up to her, maybe be complimentary at the start, but then pull away and playfully give her shit or challenge her. And then after you playfully give her shit or challenge her, you go, oh, no, I'm just kidding. I love you. That roller coaster of emotions is what creates a lot of chemistry and attraction. She wants to feel a lot of emotions. She doesn't want to feel just good ones. When she just feels good emotions around you, honestly, sometimes it can feel too good to be true. It can be like, ooh, this is almost too smooth. I've gone home with girls and I've been to the point where we're about to get the Uber and she kind of is like, wait, this is like too smooth. This is too easy. Like, what's going on? And I have to almost dim down the level of emotion in the interaction and be real with her for a second and maybe give her some more shit or acknowledge like, hey, listen, like we might hate each other. I don't know. Like, let's just grab food and do that instead of just keeping the emotional state high the whole time, because women are very in tune with real roller coasters of emotion. They're going to feel like it's a lot more natural and things kind of just happen if the emotions are varied throughout the interaction. This is something I teach in depth inside my coaching. Links down in the description to apply. Women also want to feel chosen and like you have options and standards. Women might tell you that they want a guy that is loyal, but that's once the guy has chosen them out of options. Girls do not want a guy that has no options. There's like this meme that I saw is super funny. This girl saying, the only thing worse than a guy cheating on me is him trying to cheat on me and failing. And that speaks to what women actually want. Women want a guy that could get another girl, but they choose not to because they like her. It's just human nature. You want to feel special. You want to feel like you are actually being chosen. And that means I'm higher value. And obviously the higher value you are as a guy, how you show up, how you carry yourself, your subcons, all of your behaviors in the interaction, those will make your validation mean so much more. If you're liking girls' pictures on Instagram all the time, if you're giving away your attention for free, like it's a commodity that you can just throw away for free, then it's going to have no value. And so you need to be very careful on when you offer validation, when you choose the girl, when you give her more attention than other girls, because when you do that, it's saying, hey, I like you more than these other girls, and it needs to carry some weight. Your attention actually needs to carry weight here. And I can make more videos on how to make your attention carry more weight, but a lot of it just comes down to your initial behaviors in the interaction. Things I talked about earlier, like touching her without an agenda, showing that you have no fear of loss, being able to tease her and walk away. Those things create a lot more of a higher value perception of who you are as a man approaching her. The next thing women want is they want to feel desired and not hunted down for sport, okay? When you approach her, it needs to be because I am interested in your vibe and I find you attractive. You're up to my attractiveness standard and I think you seem like you might be cool and I want to see if we get along and vibe well and connect as people. And a lot of this comes down to things I talked about before, being able to be playful, tease the girl and get out of your own head. One of the best ways to practically get to this point is by just opening very direct at the start. This isn't advice for advanced guys. If you're watching this channel and you're more advanced, you're getting more results, then this might not be the best advice for you, but being very direct is the best way I've found personally in my own transformation to overcome the fear of showing interest, the fear of showing intent, the fear of her walking away. Because if I show interest and she walks away and I stand there and stand my ground and I'm okay with it, that builds a lot of confidence in myself. Remember guys, confidence comes from building up rejections over time and being okay with who you are after the rejection, because I'm going to be who I'm going to be no matter fucking what. And that is so, so important to remember whenever you're talking to these women. The next thing women want, but they can't really tell you, is they want a guy that has a clear sense of direction for what he wants in life. And this can come down to even approaching. The fact that you're approaching her and you're being direct shows her, I'm a man that knows what I want and you are what I am interested in right now. I'm going to go talk to you. And if you are not interested, I'm going to continue on my life path and I'm going to continue going for what I want. This will not affect my actions either way. And you have to focus so much on this instilling this selfish mindset of personal growth rather than getting the validation from this one specific girl. And once you internalize this mindset of I'm the guy that goes for what I want and I'm really approaching her to practice going for what I want and be that person, not to get the girl's number. I'm not approaching you to get your number. I'm approaching you because I'm a guy that goes after what he wants. And I'm using this as an opportunity to be more like that guy and to be more in alignment with my goals. And women, you don't even have to tell them this. They will sense that. They will sense you have a direction. They will sense you have a purpose. They will sense that you care more about your life and what you do, the actions you put out in the world, than you do about whatever the fuck she thinks of you. And that is very fucking sexy. The final thing that women want, but they can't tell you, is they want a space to relax and be themselves. They want someone that sees them for who they are. Someone that sees them as, yes, you're pretty and you have all this makeup on and you look super hot and I'm like kind of nervous talking to you, but I can see that you're a person. You wake up, you take a shit in the morning, you have insecurities, you have things going on in your life that might be bothering you, they might be stressing you out. And these things are things that I see. And my nervous system, I can make more videos on how to actually relax your nervous system, but my nervous system is calm enough to realize you're just a person. And I'm okay with that. And I can be present with you in this interaction. This, above almost anything I've talked about in this video, has probably been the most powerful transformation. It's a bit more high level and meta, but this concept has made the biggest transformation in how women perceive me as a person. Because when you can look at her as just a person with her own flaws and insecurities, but I'm still attracted to you and I want to see if there's something, some place that this can go. We can actually vibe and connect on some sort of personal level. That's where you build the most connection and you actually get to a point where she wants to chase you. This past weekend, I took a guy out that had never made an approach before in his entire life. And I got him to the point where he made 50 approaches in the span of 2 days and completely shifted his entire mindset. So now he can approach the most beautiful women on the street consistently and feel confident about it. And there's 10 main takeaways that he got from this weekend that I'm going to share with you right now so you can implement these into your own life and start making very consistent approaches. Even if you're shy, insecure, struggle with talking to women, you don't have the perfect line. So the first mindset shift you have to have is that you don't need permission to approach. Most guys look for all these signs. They look for girls making eye contact, girls looking at them, smiling, waving, doing all this shit. Most of the time, if you're struggling to approach a girl that doesn't know you exist, then you're not going to see the signs anyway. I see this all the time. Guys will self-reject. I even saw this guy, Andrew, that I took out, literally eject from interactions where the girl was into it. I could tell the girl was interested. He was just too scared to take the next step, and he's self-rejecting. So many guys are self-rejecting that waiting for permission, waiting for the exact approval from the girl to move things forward, ask for the number, ask for the date, ask for the Instagram. Honestly, bro, you don't really have enough confidence yet to actually know if she wants you to talk to her or not. There are very small and subtle things that women will do to let you know that she's interested. She'll make eye contact for half a second. She might even smile if she really wants to talk to you. She might even just be in proximity to you. She might just like stand 5 feet away from you and not look at you, look at her phone and be like, oh, I hope this guy talks to me. There are such subtle signs that women want to be approached, and they are so passive when it comes to dating that it's on you to go for it anyway. And at the end of the day, if she rejects you or if you misread a sign or she was even thinking, I don't want this guy to talk to me, it's not a big deal. Who cares? It actually doesn't matter. You go up to the girl, you get rejected. She says, I have a boyfriend. She isn't interested in talking to you. And then you walk away and your day is the exact same. Andrew would go into these approaches. And at first he would be super nervous, super shy. He'd have like 2-second interactions where it's like, hey, you're cute. Have a good day, and run away. And that's fine to start, but you don't need permission. You need to sit in the interaction. You need to let her know through your body language, through how you carry yourself, through the fact that you're just comfortable in sticking in the interaction, that you are a guy that goes for what he wants and he doesn't care. Takeaway number 2 is that having the right opener or needing to make sense on the open is a total myth. The whole point of a good opener is just to start a conversation. You can ask a girl what her favorite Pokemon is, and even if she doesn't know what the fuck Pokemon is, she will still open. The conversation is still open because you started talking to them, and you can go, oh, cool. And if she doesn't know what a Pokemon is, you can be like, all right, cool. Like, what are you doing here? What are you up to? Do you live around here? And that starts the conversation. And if you know what you're doing and you have the right process for how to throw in personal input, extend an interaction, build attraction, show value through your approach, then really the opener doesn't matter. You can use any line from curiosity openers to just being direct and telling you that you think she's cute. You can do any of those things to start a conversation. Some are better than others, and maybe at some point I'll make a tier list video where I break down different opening lines. But really, at the end of the day, if you're not approaching, you don't need to care. There's going to be guys in the comments where you scroll down and you see, don't open with intent. Don't show a girl that you're attracted to, or don't open with a compliment. It just boosts her ego. These are guys that are not approaching. If you are not able to approach consistently, then you do not have any room to talk about how to actually open. If you're not opening, if you're not talking to girls, if you do not do approaches, you cannot talk about the best way to approach women because you do not know. And yes, is opening with a compliment not ideal? Sure, it's not ideal. But guess what's really not ideal? Never talking to that girl because you're too much of a pussy to go up and talk to her. That's way worse. And I would much rather live in a world where I'm the type of guy that can open with a compliment and get rejected because I opened in the incorrect way and have the balls to go for it at all, than be a guy that never goes for it because he's worried about boosting the girl's ego when I'm never going to fucking talk to her again. The third takeaway is that women do not actually get approached like you think that they do. At most, really hot women get catcalled in really weird ways, but it's very rare that a guy is respectful and socially calibrated and knows how to approach a beautiful woman with confidence and with an entitled mindset that shows high levels of social attraction. But it's very rare that a guy actually goes up to her in a respectful and normal way and can start a conversation, build attraction, and have that lead to a date, especially with an entitled mindset that you're entitled to talk to anybody that you want. And that's another thing as well. As soon as you leave the house, you're signing a social contract that you can talk to anybody. Anybody out in public is signing a social contract that I can be talked to today. Someone can socialize with me. They have the option to. It's not illegal. It's not harassment. It's not weird. Socializing is normal. No matter how many videos you watch on TikTok, It's very fucking normal to talk to people if you act like it is. The only problem is a lot of guys think it's weird. They think it's not normal. And so they refuse to do it in a way that is normal. They refuse to act like it's normal. They try to make it a big deal. And that really comes down to realizing that it's not a big deal, and women don't hear it all the time. Women aren't getting approached all the time. Women are just going about their day. Maybe they get approached once a week. If she's really hot, maybe twice a week. It very rarely happens, especially in the day on the street. It almost never happens. The fourth takeaway is that confidence does not come from learning about women. Confidence comes from talking to women. And confidence comes from taking risks, being okay with failure, and going for what you want and not getting it. And you're okay after. Confidence comes from failure. Your ego comes from building yourself up, hyping yourself up, getting all these short-term wins. Oh, I got this girl's number. That boosts your ego. But your ego is not the same thing as your confidence. Your confidence comes from failing. Confidence comes from, I am a guy that goes after what he wants. He fails sometimes. I fuck up. I don't get everything that I want. Not everything goes my way. And I am okay with that. That is totally fine. And I can live with that because I'm proud that I'm just a guy that tries. The fifth takeaway for Andrew was that the approach doesn't need to go well for it to be a win. I don't know if you guys are understanding the theme here, but the theme is you need to start. You need to start talking to girls. If you don't talk to girls on the street randomly in cold approach situations, you're not going to be good at it. You're not going to be good. You're going to be awkward. You're going to fumble over your words. You're going to be nervous. Even if you've gotten with really attractive women, you might approach a girl that you think is a 6 out of 10 for you. You might approach a girl that you think is a 7 out of 10 for you, and she doesn't like you because you don't know how to approach yet. You don't know how to make it normal. You don't know how to open in a really bold and confident, charismatic way, read the social cues, understand all the social calibration, understand how to lead, move things forward, keep the momentum of the conversation, and flow into an instant date or flow into a number or make it make sense for you to meet up with her later. You don't know how to do that stuff yet because you haven't done it, and that's okay. You can be bad at approaching. When I was 19 and I started approaching, I think I made 80 to 100 approaches before I got my first date. And that's fine because I've been on hundreds of fucking dates. I've been on hundreds of dates with attractive women. I've had a lot of success with women. I'm married to my dream girl now. It's fucking awesome, right? It's amazing. But I wouldn't have gotten there. I wouldn't have gotten this sense of abundance. I wouldn't have gotten to the point where I have a lot of confidence and women are very attracted to me in general. I wouldn't have gotten to that point if I didn't focus on just taking action. Takeaway number 6 is that your fears are lying to you to keep your ego safe. You might think she's too tall. You might think, oh, she has a boyfriend. Oh, this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to go well for me. And those are just fears keeping you from rejection. And the problem with this is that it keeps you too focused on your ego and your results versus taking action that makes you feel good about the fact that you did it. The work, the approach, the thing that you did, going after the girl, seeing her, thinking she's attractive and trying is the thing that should give you confidence, not ego. Ego doesn't matter. Ego is up and down. It's all over the place. It's very fragile. People with big egos, they're very easily manipulated. It's very easy for you to get out of control of your life if you let your ego drive the boat. You need to let your confidence be the focus. Build confidence through approaching. You don't know if you are too short. You don't know if she is too hot for you. You don't know if she has a boyfriend. You have no idea. You're making these assumptions to protect your ego. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You're having manners, but your manners are just fears keeping you from going after what you want and living the life that you actually want to live, where you can go outside, freely talk to people, and freely associate with others. Over the weekend, I actually had another client in town that's 5'5", like a 5'5" brown dude, right? Small dude. And on the last night, we were having him approach all of the 6'3" in heels, blonde model girls in the bar. Every single girl absolutely ate it the fuck up because he was opening in a very bold and confident way. He was getting numbers. He was getting good reactions. Now, he didn't have the processes in place to move that forward to a pull yet, but those were interactions that could have led to a pull if he knew how to lead with this new level of entitlement and confidence. You do not need to have all of these things in place. You don't need to be tall, jacked, rich. That's all bullshit. And if you do need those things, those are the types of women you don't want to date anyway. So when you keep that in mind, focus on what you know, which is I'm attracted to this girl. I want to talk to her. That's all I know. Brain off. Caveman mode activated. I'm just going to go for what the fuck I want. Takeaway number 7 is that your disadvantages are actually advantages if you let them be. So I'm pretty tall. As a tall guy, I never get the opportunity to go up to a girl that's taller than me for the most part. I don't really get that. And it kind of sucks because the fact that I could go up to a girl that's taller than me and I act like I should be able to get her creates this crazy emotional spike within women where they're like, why the fuck is this guy talking to me? Why does he have confidence? There must be something about this guy. A lot of guys that want to get better with women, they're stuck on this logical phase of thinking. They're stuck in this loop of just constantly thinking like, what do I say next? How do I convince her to like me? But women are thinking 2 or 3 levels deeper than that. Psychology goes so much deeper than just the surface level of what's happening up here. What she's actually thinking is, this guy opened in a very bold and confident way, and he's acting like he's not intimidated by me and like he thinks he can attract me and get me in his bed. Why is he acting like that when he's short? Why is he acting like that when he looks like XYZ? He's not a white guy. He's not a super jacked dude. He's not super rich. Why is this guy acting like that? It's the personality traits that are so attractive. Guys that are good looking, I know some really insecure good looking guys. These guys are not very good with women. They don't get very good results. Sometimes they get the wrong kind of women they don't want to stick around. These guys are never in relationships with girls that they're really excited about. They're only in relationships with materialistic or superficial women. And so most women are attracted to what is underneath the surface. Money gives you confidence, not because you have the money, but because you built something, because you created something. You had a purpose in life and you focused on that. Being in shape gives you confidence because you did something hard. You did a challenge. You pushed yourself to improve. That gives you confidence. You went through pain and you failed. I don't know if you're still not picking up on the pattern, but you go through pain, you fail, it builds confidence. You can do the same thing with approaching. You go through pain, you fail, it builds confidence. Your disadvantages can be advantages if you think about them in the right way. Takeaway number 8 is that there are no rules. There is just your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is telling you these social rules of what you can do. The amount of times I was sitting down at a restaurant and we're doing outdoor seating and the girl is walking by on the sidewalk and I pull her over. I'm like, hey, excuse me, come here. Just 1 second. And I start talking to her. I flirt with her. I introduce her to my friends. I get her number. And then she's down to meet up on that night out with my clients. The amount of times I did that 2 or 3 times in just 2 days. It was very, very simple. I just saw a cute girl, pulled her over, started talking with everybody. It is not a big deal to socialize and talk to new people. It is not a big deal to go for what you want. Rules do not exist. There is not some magical boundary around other people that says, oh, I can't talk to these people. It's a lot about how you think about it and how bold you are on the open, how confident you are with pushing yourself into these interactions. That is the most important thing that you can understand about how to approach and how to even think about starting to start these interactions. There's no rules. And actually going back to earlier where girls think in terms of what does this say about this guy, the fact that you don't follow these rules that most people do is very fucking attractive. It shows a lot of confidence, shows a lot of assertiveness and boldness. And those are the most attractive traits a guy can have. Number 9 is that your energy is king. If you are focused on yourself, going after what you want, your purpose in the moment is actually approaching this girl. My purpose is talking to her because I want to. My purpose is pushing my social comfort zone. My purpose is I want to have fun with this girl. My purpose is I want to have the most fun that I possibly can. I have my own bubble and I'm going to bring my bubble of fun, my party, to other people. I'm going to be a fun, relaxed, chill guy. I know I get intense on these YouTube videos sometimes, but I'm pretty fucking fun when I talk to people. I'm pretty social. I goof around a lot. I make a lot of jokes. And the reason I do that is because energy is king. You need to have good energy. You can't take yourself too seriously. And if you're taking yourself so seriously, you're rigid. You're stuck in logic. You're stuck in these logical thought patterns where you can't break free from them because what if this person doesn't think that what I said makes sense with the previous sentence that I said? Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. You could go from what's your favorite Pokemon to Do you like birds? Oh, have you ever been to Greece? There's beautiful birds there. They actually remind me of Pokemon. Anyway, blah, 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 right? You can go off on these tangents. It doesn't matter. You can make up anything you want to say. There are no rules in conversation. Energy is king. Women will feed off of your energy. There is a law of emotional mirroring where women feel what you feel. And if you feel like you're having fun in the interaction, she's going to have fun talking to you. Number 10, and I'll leave you with this, is that the only thing worse than rejection is regret. Seeing a girl you want to talk to, being like, she's probably going to reject me anyway, and walking past her. Regretting not going for what you want is the most terrible feeling ever. Most men live in fear. I used to live in fear for a very long time. It was really fucking hard. I would always see girls I want to talk to, and I would never be able to go for it. I would never be able to try. And when you can understand that avoiding that fear of regret is so much more important than avoiding the fear of rejection, then you'll understand that life is so much more about trying and failing and then feeling good about the fact that you tried. Not in a like weird participation trophy type of way, but in a way where you really gave it your all and you know you couldn't have done better. And I'm willing to bet that every single person watching this video has something in their life where they know that they could do better, but they're not doing anything about it. They're going to be on their deathbed. They're going to be 80 years old, and they're going to look back and they're going to say, man, I wish I talked to more women. Man, I wish I tried more in my life. I wish I put myself out there more. You're not going to think, man, I'm really glad I didn't approach that 10 out of 10 blonde on the street. You're not going to think that. No one's ever thought that in the history of humanity. All right, fellas, it's time to stop lying to you. It's time to let the cat out of the bag. Okay, dating is actually very easy, especially in 2025. It's super easy. And there's a few core principles that make dating easy because it feels like it's harder than it ever has been. But that's because you're approaching it like a guy. You're not approaching it from a woman's perspective. And what I had to understand when I was going through this transformation where I went from this guy who couldn't talk to a girl without shaking to this guy who couldn't, hold a frame in a relationship. The girl I was with didn't really respect me. She wasn't really attracted to me towards the end, and I had to end that relationship, to now a guy that is confidently able to approach women on the street, get very positive reactions, get a lot of dates. Women are very attracted to me on average, way more than they were when I was younger. I had to understand myself from a woman's perspective and how I'm actually perceived. Women have such a better ability to perceive how confident you are in yourself, and they can read all of this bullshit through tests and through subconscious, basically like intuition, that they understand if you are actually attractive or not and if you deserve them or not. And most of it comes down to one law, the law of emotional mirroring. Women will always feel how you feel. If you go up to a girl and you can be nervous, it's fine. But if you don't think you deserve her, then you're fucked. And this is something that took me a very long time to understand. I had to get to the point where I genuinely felt like if I expressed myself in the most authentic and charismatic way I possibly could, women would be attracted to me. And I had to genuinely believe that. And the only way that I found to help other people and myself get to that point is to understand that you already, as a man, biologically, have all the tools to attract a woman that you are interested in. You have all the anatomy of a guy. You have all the hormones. You have all of the ability to be a masculine, dominant, assertive guy in his day-to-day life. You have that already. Now, if you're not using it to the fullest of your ability, that is your problem and you need to change that. But you have the ability to, you have the potential to be a very attractive guy. Every guy has this. Every guy has the ability to be a man that women desire, no matter what, point blank, period. Now, if you're lazy and you're not ambitious and you don't want to improve and you don't want to get better at this, then you can click off this video because this won't work for you. It just won't, because women like guys that go for what they want and really genuinely want to be the best versions of themselves. That's one of the most attractive things. Now, there are three main things that keep you from unlocking that full potential in your dating life, from living up to your potential and actually being the attractive version of yourself that women genuinely want from you, not this fake, I need to pretend to be someone I'm not, kind of fucking dorky guy that's just, trying to flex whatever money or job or like logical shit that women don't actually fucking care about. There are three frames that you need to hold in order to be this attractive guy. Now, the first frame is around the law of emotional mirroring, where women will always feel how you feel. So a lot of guys think I have to structure the interaction so that I show the most interesting and best and high value parts of myself. And that can work. But what I found is a lot more effective is just being open, raw, and unfiltered about who you are. So if you're really passionate about music and you talk about your music, you're going to naturally be more interesting because you're passionate about that thing. If you have this drive and ambition to start a business and you want to talk about that, then talk about it. If you want to talk about fitness, but talk about it in a way that makes it clear I'm really fucking into this thing. Right now, I'm playing Stardew Valley, which is a super fucking, it's a very cozy, like farming game, okay? I will talk to girls. I'll be in a conversation with a really hot girl, and I will literally think, wouldn't it be cool and funny to just talk for 5 minutes and rant about how epic this fucking game is? How I have my Galaxy fucking hammer and it's enchanted, and I have, my Iridium scythe and I'm scything down all these star fruits and I'm making wine out of it. I'm making millions of gold and I'm fucking sick. That would be funny because I just want to see how she reacts to it. And that makes me so much more attractive to this girl because I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to let her judge me. I'm going up in front of the girl. I'm like, hey, judge me. I don't give a fuck. And that's very attractive. It's not the fucking starfruit wine that makes me attractive. It's the fact that I'm okay with her judging me. I'm okay with that. And if you want to hit a point where you are truly your authentic masculine self, then that's the first thing you need to do. You need to get to a point where you're okay with girls judging you and you almost like crave it. Like, I want you to judge me. Please tell me I'm not good enough for you. I dare you. And it's like a game of chicken. She's like, oh, fuck. Like, if he's this confident, maybe there's a reason I should like him. The next mindset I wanted to talk about in this video was that most of you guys, with trying to be your most authentic self, you're not actually this guy where it's like, oh, my authentic self is actually like very boring. It's probably not boring. You're probably just scared, probably just walking on eggshells, and you're filtering all the things that you have to say. What I've found has been very helpful for this is a mindset of self-amusement, going into the interaction thinking, how can I make this the most fun for myself that I possibly can? And when you think about it from a selfish perspective, it sounds like it wouldn't work. It sounds like, like if I'm having fun and she's just standing there, like, how is that gonna make sense? But women are naturally drawn to fun. They're drawn to the emotions. Everybody has this kind of aura around them, like an energy about them. And if your energy is good, she's gonna want to be around that. So if you prioritize your own good time and your own fun, then it's going to go a lot better for you. So I make jokes about things that I think are funny. I make jokes about me balding. I make jokes about how, women love me. I like go really over the top and super cocky just because I think it's funny. So if that fits your personality, you can do that. Sometimes I'll disqualify the girl. I'll be like, oh, see, this is why it would never work between us. Like, it's just the height difference is too much. Like, being able to express myself and not be afraid to offend her is the most important thing. I'll have like an awkward silence in an interaction. One bit that I really like to do is like the awkward silence comes up and I just go, so, and then I just start laughing because I think it's so funny. I'm like trying to make it awkward. I almost try to fuck up my interaction sometimes. And for me, that makes me laugh and I genuinely think it's fun. And then that actually helps with getting her more into me. To piggyback off of that, the third point that I wanted to make is that belief with this stuff is everything. Believing that the most authentic version of myself is the version of me that will attract this girl. That is the most important thing. When I get rejected, I would always try to walk away, even if it was me being bald or something, negative about me that she doesn't like. I would always walk away from it like, man, I could have been more authentic. I could have been more me. I could have been less stuck in my head. I could have been more expressive. Because if you have that belief, then you actually have a chance to improve. If you don't take accountability and you blame some external factor like my genetics or something like that, then like you can't do anything about that. It takes control away from you, which ultimately makes you feel like less of a man. We actually had a client in town. I went out with one of my guys in my program, Tanvir, over the weekend, and he was 5'5", okay? This dude is short. And I was having him on the last night of the boot camp, I was having him approach these girls that were like 6'3", 6'4", in heels, right? Like these girls were tall. He was approaching, and I was having him approach in a very fucking bold way. Like, yo, what's up? I have a thing for tall blonde girls. Yeah, we should go on a date. Let's fucking go. And he was like trying to like lead and push things forward. And because he was so cocky and so arrogant about it, and it was so obvious that like This height difference is crazy. Because he was willing to just self-amuse and have fun with the interaction, he actually got to the point where girls were like nervous and giggling and like they really were like eating it up. And he didn't have the skills yet to like actually move things forward. Like he didn't have the full confidence of like, no, like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get your number. We're going to go on a date. It's going to be romantic. We're going to have some crazy kids. They're going to be fucking, we have no clue how tall these kids are going to be. They're going to be either really fucking tall or just like super short like me. And we have no fucking clue. He wasn't able to go that far. But it opened his mind to the fact that these girls could be convinced that they're attracted to him. Most women can be convinced that they are attracted to a guy if he is assertive enough, if he believes in himself enough, and if he's confident enough. Most women could be into it. They could be convinced. The only things keeping them from that is, one, the guy's lack of confidence, and two, limiting beliefs that they have about what is possible in terms of what they could be attracted to, because they probably don't have a good experience with a short guy yet, because most short guys are fucking, they're not confident, or they don't have a lot of good experiences with a guy that's a little overweight, because most overweight guys are not confident. But it's not because they're overweight that they're not confident. They're not confident because they think they need to be something else. And you don't need to be. Now, by all means, go out, get your leg extension surgery, okay? Go get liposuction. Go to the gym, lose some weight. Get fucking jacked, bro. Like, make money. Cool. But that's not why you're not getting girls. You're not getting girls because you're not the most authentic and raw version of yourself. And that's why dating's hard. Because you're competing with guys with external resources that you will never achieve. No matter how jacked, rich, or good looking you get, there's always someone better, and you can't outcompete on those things. What you can outcompete on is you, because there's only one of you. You can make you the best version of yourself, the most unfiltered and unique version of yourself, and the most authentic. And that is how you're going to attract women, especially nowadays. Women have such good bullshit filters. It's almost impossible to get anything past a girl that's somewhat socially savvy. She's going to know you're not actually confident. And honestly, most women, like when they talk about high standards, it's really not the external stuff that women have too high standards of. Like they'll say that, but it's really not that. It's men have fallen behind in terms of confidence and assertiveness because we've become so materialistic and so focused on these external factors. That's all it is. As a guy that used to not be able to talk to girls without shaking, small talk would terrify me. I used to always say things like, oh, I'm just bad at small talk. I need to talk about deep topics. And I took myself way too seriously, and it really hindered my ability to meet the types of women that I want. Because at the end of the day, we all know this, like watching this video, if you want to date attractive women, you need to reach some level of social calibration, social hook point, where she feels like, okay, this guy is just a cool guy, so I can actually start to potentially even view him as an option. You need to have social calibration. So in this video, I'm going to give you 6 different phases, all the way from beginner at small talk and social interaction to going to more advanced, where you are the most interesting guy that the girl has met that week, that month, or even that year. And genuinely, this is very possible. And this gets girls very excited to see you again if you actually do end up getting her number. So the first thing you have to understand about small talk, it breaks down into a very simple structure. There's question, answer. She asks you the same question back, answer, right? So you ask a question, she answers, she asks, you answer. That's the very basics of small talk. And that loop just repeats. An example of this would be, where are you from? I'm from here. Oh, cool. Where are you from? I'm from here, right? That's the very boring thing. And that's how you get into interview mode, and you kind of kill the vibe if you just stop there. So even with that very boring structure by itself, you can actually get into really good interactions. I'm going to explain exactly how. I'm going to get into some mindset stuff around this, but you're going to want to make sure you watch this whole thing, because most guys are oblivious to this stuff, and you need to understand it if you want to truly master the art of small talk. So do not click off this video. So what you have to understand about small talk is that small talk is not just what you're saying. It is an energy exchange. I want you to imagine everywhere you go, there's a bubble of energy around you, like a Super Saiyan fucking aura around you at all times, right? Every group you see, every person you see has this energy woo-woo blah, 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 kind of bubble around them, right? It's very woo-woo, very fucking cringe, but everyone has this, okay? Now, your energy, when it enters another group's energy, what most guys do is they try to match that other group's energy, but they just try to add to it. So instead of 2 people with the same vibe, we now have 3 people with the same vibe. Now, the problem with that is that these girls that you're talking to are like, well, I was already enjoying the vibe with me and my friend. And adding a third person without changing anything that I don't know doesn't really make it better, right? So what you have to do is have your own energy. And when you enter the other person's bubble, you are now altering the chemistry, and you should try to alter the chemistry of that energy that's around them. And being aware of your emotional state is going to be very important around this. If you go in to an interaction and you try to intuit how kind of the vibe of the girls, and you try to match that, and you are like a nice guy that's like, oh, that's cool, and you just have this like very positive type of vibe, you're not speaking your mind, you're afraid to offend, you're walking on eggshells, it's just going to be a slightly shittier version of the vibe that they already had when you approached. There's a very important concept around this called the law of emotional mirroring. Women will feel how you feel. This is a fundamental law of talking to women and attraction. Women will always feel what you are feeling. And they will feel if you are reserved. They will feel if you are holding yourself back. They'll feel if you're genuinely expressing yourself. They'll feel if you're being authentic. Now, like in these videos, I try to ham it up a little bit for the camera, but generally I'm pretty much like this. Like I'm in coaching mode right now, but my personality outside of this is pretty much the same. I'm maybe a little goofier whenever I'm not filming. And that's it. I'm just who I am. I'm me, right? I'm Tim. I'm a dating coach, but I'm also just a fucking guy, right? And when I make these videos, I try to have my own authentic personality come through in the video. So I like try to make jokes, try to make references to stuff that I like. And that's really important to me. And the reason I do that is because my energy is impacting on you, right? So if I come on and I'm trying to like tell you how it is and like, you know, try to coach you through some bullshit and do some weird, like, you know, trying to frame myself as some authority, then it comes off weird. It comes off inauthentic. But if I just talk about my experiences, I'm a lot more authentic. And I've done a lot of work on just trying to express who I am and like the personality that I have. And when you go up to a girl and you enter her bubble, it's a lot of the same thing that's happening. She's going to feel all the experiences you've had in your day leading up to this point. She's going to feel if you're nervous. She's going to feel if you're anxious. And she's going to feel if you actually want to talk to her. So the reason I talk about this stuff is that if you're watching this channel, you're probably thinking with your logic brain, how do I talk to this girl? You're not thinking with your emotional creativity brain, how do I vibe with this girl? How do I connect with her? How do I see her for who she actually is? And how do I express who I actually am and trust that, honestly, the right girls will genuinely like that? I know it's not the super sick all-in-one answer that you want, but women will feel your vibe. This is one of the first things I work on inside my coaching programs. There's a reason I talk about this stuff a lot. It's because your vibe and how you come off, how you feel about yourself will affect your communication. And there's no way around it. There's no workaround. There's no faking it. How you feel about yourself will affect how she feels about you. Always. So just remember that when you're going into any sort of small talk scenario, she's always going to feel how you feel. She's always going to reflect that vibe. And you will be, whether you like it or not, altering the chemistry of her own energy bubble. And you need to be aware of that. Because a lot of guys, they just try to fall into place. We're kind of taught our whole lives, like sit in the chair, be a good boy, sit down. Like I have some fucking crazy ADHD, right? And so when I was a kid, like I would get fucking yelled at for like getting up, and like I would never take a nap and all that kind of shit because I was just me, right? And so I got put in my fucking place, and that beat me down until I wasn't very expressive, and I was this guy on the screen, right? Like I was this fucking shy, like awkward kind of dude, and I had to really rewire a lot of that stuff. And the way I did that was by really looking inside and trying to accept myself. Like, what are the parts of my personality that are actually like really fun, that I like, that I wouldn't change for anything? Like no amount of money, I wouldn't change this about myself. And I think that's really important just to understand before we get into this. I know it's like high level and you want to get into the tactics and stuff like that, but before we get into it, that is one of the most important things you got to understand. Now we can get into the logical part, the fucking engineer brain. All you engineers watching this shit, I know you're out there like, all right, how do I get into her mind and fucking mind meld with this girl? Okay, like what are the tactics? The tactics are broken down into two parts. One, building rapport, and two, breaking rapport. And both of these have specific functions in an interaction. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the conversation loop and how to build off of it so you can have an endless conversation that never ends, that's always fun, and always keeps her hooked and engaged. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So let's talk about building rapport. First, with building rapport, you have to be interested in the girl as a person. So actually interested in what she's up to, what her hobbies are, what her passions are, the things she likes to do, her experiences, right? And you have to be able to be genuinely interested in that. I don't know how else I can say it. You need to be interested. Now, the second part of building rapport is to share personal input. Personal input just comes down to being open about your own experiences. So I'm talking to a girl at Whole Foods. I'm talking to her about like healthy food or whatever. Like, oh my God, you're like a vegetable freak. Like, what's going on here? She's like, oh yeah, I really like to eat healthy. Oh, nice. I actually just started doing one of my buddies does fitness content. I just started doing one of his workout plans and like his diet and stuff. And I've lost some weight and I feel really good about it. Like, I'm actually pretty pumped. I really like going to the gym. I just need somebody to push me. Just that personal input into the insight of like who I am, the type of person I am. I like to push myself. I like to, push my comfort zone. That is very important to be able to do. You have to make yourself a human being. And this comes with a little bit of vulnerability. You might feel a little bit weird. You might feel a little bit nervous about sharing certain things about yourself. When I was starting, before I had the fucking World of Warcraft tattoo, I was actually in the top 20 US World of Warcraft guild. I was like grinding, playing 12 hours a day. And I had to get comfortable with the fact that like, well, if I start dating this girl, she's going to know I play video games. So I better talk about it in the initial interaction. There's no reason not to. Now, I didn't talk about it like it was a bad thing. I talked about it like it was awesome, how it was really competitive and how it, taught me a lot of life lessons. And, a lot of people think it's weird, but I fucking love it. I just think it's so sick. I love like getting on, playing my warlock, playing my warrior, like grinding fucking Legion artifact power levels, like doing Mythic Plus dungeons, like all that shit. I love that shit. It's super fun. Or when I was playing Counter-Strike a lot, I love playing Counter-Strike. I love just popping heads, being a fucking, the sick op flick, just fucking destroying nerds, right? I love that shit. I love it. And that was something about me that I thought was really cool. And so I own that about myself. And you need to do the same thing, right? You need to really start accepting the parts of you that you really like and be really open about them. Don't filter anything. Don't filter anything about yourself because she's going to find these things out anyway. So you might as well get ahead of it and own that shit before she gets a chance to disqualify you. Because when she finds out these things, she's going to be like, why did he hide it from me? Is he not actually confident? He came up to me, he seemed confident, but he has all these things about him that he was not comfortable sharing. So you might as well just, if it comes up and if you see an opportunity, you should talk about the things you want to talk about in the interaction. And I'll show you how to use personal input in this conversation loop that I've talked about before with a visual aid at the end. Now, the second way to build a real connection is through breaking rapport. You break rapport or give her shit or challenge her because it builds camaraderie. It's not being a dick. It's not being rude, but taking risks in the interaction, saying things that you think are funny because you think they're funny and you're just giving her some shit. That builds a lot of comfort, actually, because that's how you talk to your friends. If you were going to talk to your friends, you wouldn't be really walking on eggshells, trying not to hurt their feelings. You would actually give her shit about that. So like the example I gave earlier, like, oh my God, you're like this fucking vegetable maniac. Like, what's going on here? Being able to say that and not be like, oh, is she going to think I'm weird because I said she's a maniac? Is she going to be offended? Bro, she's not going to be offended. Just use more extreme language and be okay with giving her shit and challenging her. I actually have a full video inside my program where I talk about 30 different teases that you can actually use, like 30 different lines, like being playfully disapproving, playfully disqualifying her, like, oh, see, this is why it wouldn't work between us. Those breaks in rapport build a lot of connection because it shows I'm not needy. I don't have a lot of fear of loss. If you walked away, I would actually be okay. Now, maybe I'd be disappointed because you're hot. Like, I'd be fine. I know I'd be okay. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, okay, this is all cool, but how do I actually sound interesting, right? I have my passions, I have my hobbies, but like, how do I actually say it in a way that makes it sound interesting? How do I say these things? Well, there's three main things I learned from a mentor way back in the day. It was like one of the first courses I ever bought. I don't think you can even buy it anymore. But there's three pieces to it. There is paint pictures in the girl's head, write songs in her head, and talk about your feelings. I'm going to get into all of these right now. So when you talk about a story from your past, oh, that reminds me of when I went to Italy. You don't just say, oh yeah, I went to Italy and Rome and it was like cool, right? It's fucking boring. No, I went to Italy and the cobblestone like roads, I was like taking giant steps up and down and like my hips were getting all fucked up because of the roads, but like it was amazing. I went to the Colosseum and I just imagined all of the like gladiators like fighting fucking lions and shit. And it was insane that people would just gather in this huge arena that I was sitting in and like watch people fight to the death. It was it was such a crazy experience just even seeing that. That's how you paint a picture in her head. You talk about what it looked like. The way you write songs in her head is by talking about the sounds, the things that happened, right? So I went on this hike and the birds were so loud. They were chirping like these like beautiful songs. And it was like out of a video game. It was like I was some man lost in nature. And I just felt the breeze on my skin. And I was just like, holy shit, this is one of the most magical places. I had like in the back of my mind, I was like imagining some fucking orchestra playing because it just felt so scenic when I got to the top of the summit, right? Talking about how it sounded as well, not just the visuals, but how it sounded. And another piece with writing songs in her head, the way you kind of think about it is rhythm and pacing of the interaction, right? If I want her to really pay attention to something, or I think something's really interested. If I want her to really pay attention to something, or I think something is very interesting, I'll say, okay, wait. So you're telling me that you do yoga. That is so crazy, right? It puts more emphasis on the things that I'm saying and it brings her in. But if I get really excited about something and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be fucking sick. Like, hey, let's go over here. I'm going to talk fast and I'm going to try to lead. Those are just a few ways that you can mix up the cadence and the pitch of your voice. And when you want to create tension, you slow it down and you get very close to her and you can make eye contact and use silence. These are very critical pieces of sounding more interesting. It's not really what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And the things you're comfortable talking about, the way you're able to illustrate the stories in her head when you're talking. Now, talking about your feelings, okay? I'm not telling you to fucking have a therapy session with this girl. What I'm telling you to do is be okay with talking about things you're passionate about and say that you are passionate about it. Instead of, oh yeah, I like that thing. It's like, no, I fucking love this thing. These grapes you have, I fucking love them. I'm obsessed with these grapes. They taste so fucking good, right? That's so much more interesting because now she knows that I actually have a strong opinion about these things. The only way to create a lot of tension with a girl is by showing a lot of emotion, right? You have to show emotion to connect with people. You just do. You can't be this fucking robot. And the main thing is like, honestly, guys, I know you watching this video, you're not worried about, oh my God, this girl's going to think I'm a fucking pussy because I'm talking about my feelings. You're just nervous to express yourself, which is normal. I've been like this for a long time. For most of our lives, we're like emotionally stunted and we're uncomfortable with talking about things we like. Like when you meet a girl, she's all bubbly. She's like, oh my God, do you love that? Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God, that makes me feel so happy. I'm so happy for you, right? She's like that because she's very comfortable with expressing how she feels, wearing her emotions on her sleeve. And that is a very important part of building a connection with a girl when you first meet her. So earlier in the video, I told you that I was going to show you how this actually works in practice. So we're going to go through an example of an interaction. I'm going to show you how you can branch off and make these interactions more interesting. Okay, so now we have this conversation loop. If you were going to go through this normally, what you would do is you would say, what do you do? She would say, I'm a nurse. What do you do? And then you would say, I'm an engineer, right? And that's how it would go. And it would probably be super boring and you'd end up in this constant loop. Now, I'm going to show you how you can break off of this loop right now. So first you go, oh, what do you do for work? She says, I'm a nurse. Now, immediately you can inject some personal input. So, oh, cool. My sister was a nurse, or I actually, even better, I dated a nurse in the past. Their schedules were crazy. Now she can, so this is personal input. Now what she can do is she can start talking about her work schedule. Now you can either loop it back to your answer for the question and talk about what you do, or you can just talk about like work schedules in general. And at any point, if she talks about her crazy work schedule, you could give her shit like, oh, see, how are we going to go on a first date if you're fucking working all the time? What is this? So now you're breaking off here and you're teasing. Now, this loop still is not closed. There's endless ways that you can do this. And then when you talk about work schedules, now you can talk about some trip you took for work. But then you can do all the things like paint pictures in her head, write songs in her head, you can talk about your feelings, you can do all of these things. And now you're in this conversation loop that just never ends. And at some point, she's going to be so interested, she's going to want to end this conversation loop and start another one. But if you just keep opening new loops, oh, that reminds me of this, that reminds me of this, then you end up in a place where the conversation never ends. This is one of the most powerful tactics for expanding your interactions and expanding your conversations. And what you can actually do is an exercise for this called the Talk Forever drill. I have my clients do this inside my programs. If you want to apply, there's a link down below in the description. But what you can do with this is you can set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes on your phone, and you just talk for that 5 minutes straight. This is what it might look like. So I'm talking to my phone right now, and it makes me feel like kind of a crazy person. Speaking of that, the Nashville homeless people are fucking wild. Not as bad as LA, but they have a bunch of crazy stuff out there, but probably not as bad. I feel like all the crazy people actually might be leaving. So maybe LA is actually like getting better. I actually talked to a buddy, and he said that, yeah, it's a little crazy out there, but it's actually not as bad as it was for a while. But that reminds me of people that are kind of influency. I've influence-y. I don't really know how to say that, but speaking of other words that I don't know how to say, I used to not be able to say spaghetti, so I would say Pischetti, obviously, which reminds me of this episode of Bob's Burgers, which is a really good show on Hulu if you guys haven't watched it, where this guy Teddy he can't say lawnmower. He said mow-lawner the whole time, and he's trying the whole episode to say mow-lawner, but then he ends up saying it in like some crazy voice, which kind of funny. I can kind of do personal like impressions of people, but not whenever there's pressure. As soon as there's pressure, I just like totally crumble when there comes pressure to like do any sort of impression of someone. Like, I could try to do a Trump and do this, and it's the best thing that I've ever seen, but I know it's already not as good as it is when I do it just like kind of offhand and I'm not asked to, because those are funny, right? But I can't do it when there's pressure. So, which reminds me of actually like with performing under pressure, I want to try doing stand-up comedy at some point, because I think that would be like a really good way to push my comfort zone. And right now I'm kind of running out of things to say, but I'm not really, because I always have things that I can say, and I'm just kind of rambling at this point, and I'm just imagining the retention time just going down in this video. So we're going to wrap it up here soon. And that is what the exercise looks like. And if you talk for long enough, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you'll get lubed up to where you come up with enough stuff to say. And if you remember the core law here of emotional mirroring, women will feel how you feel. You can focus more on how you feel and not what you're saying. And all these tactics for how to paint pictures in her head, talk about your emotions, write songs in her head, those things will happen more naturally because you're just having fun with the interaction.
If there's anything I learned from going from this guy who couldn't talk to girls without shaking to now a guy that's a lot more confident with women and has a lot better results in his dating life, a lot of times, especially when you're starting out, you have a lot more chances than you think with girls that you're attracted to. Women are actually a lot more attracted to you than you think, but you have to be able to read the signs. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 7 biggest signs that she is sexually attracted to you that you can escalate and move things forward in your interactions. So the first thing you want to look for is not just eye contact, but eye contact that lingers. Now you're going to have to practice actually making eye contact, right? If you're not making eye contact, she doesn't have the opportunity to make eye contact that really connects with you. But if she's holding eye contact with you very strongly, especially with silences and a lot of tension in the interaction, she is attracted to you. She is going to be into you for sure, no matter what. If she keeps looking away and breaking eye contact, but she keeps looking back and she keeps holding eye contact with you, especially for longer than a few seconds, she is attracted to you. And the only way to even see this is to practice actually holding eye contact. You have to practice it and practice locking in and just like looking at the girl. So if you're not normally good at holding eye contact, this is the only way you're going to be able to tell, is by looking into her eyes and seeing how long is she holding eye contact. Is she breaking eye contact a lot and not looking back? Is she looking around a lot? Or is she locked in with you, actually looking at you? The second sign that a girl is into you is if she's physically close to you. So she's within physical proximity of you. We don't put other things in front of us or by us that we don't want to be by. This could be even she stands by you, but she's not even looking at you. She's not even talking to you. She just finds a reason to come over and be next to you. Same thing with at the gym. If a girl comes over and kind of doesn't even think about it, but she's working out next to you, she follows you from machine to machine like once or twice, that is a very good sign that she is attracted to you and she's open to talk to you. A lot of these signs that women show for being attracted to you is they're very subtle and they're not very obvious. And so you want to make sure that you are focused on, can I interpret this interaction? Can I interpret this thing that she's doing, whether it's standing close to you, holding eye contact longer than you feel like is normal? If she's doing those things, chances are she's probably attracted to you. Another bonus tip for this is not just proximity, but if she aligns her hips towards you, if she literally faces her pelvis towards you, that is a very good sign that she is attracted to you, because it sounds so fucking cringe, but she's literally like facing her vagina towards you. Like, that's actually what's happening. And that is a very, very good sign. If she squares up to you, and also like if she crosses her feet while she's standing and talking to you, it means that she's not planning on leaving. Maybe we can throw a clip up of, you know, a third person perspective of a girl like crossing their feet when they're talking to me. It's a sign that she's not trying to leave. She's actually trying to stay in the interaction. Now, the third thing you want to look for if she's attracted to you is her touching you, finding a reason to touch you first. So playfully touching you on the arm, knee, shoulder, anywhere that she's kind of pushing you away, being playful, or even just like touching you, oh my God, you're so funny, and like putting her hand on you. To get to this point to where the girl's going to touch you first, either this is going to happen a lot at night, or you need to build a lot of emotional spikes into the interaction. She needs to be having a really fun time in the interaction. You're gonna have to build a lot of attraction here in order to get to this point, but this is a very obvious point that I think a lot of guys would be able to understand. The fourth sign that she is attracted to you is if she does things to play with her appearance or adjust her appearance. So this can be playing with her hair or adjusting her hair. It can be messing with her lip gloss, messing with her makeup, checking how she looks in her phone, those types of things. If she's looking at how she looks, if she's trying to pay attention to how she looks and she's subconsciously grooming herself, she is trying to look her best in that moment, which means that she cares how she looks, which is obviously a very good sign for you. The fifth sign that she likes you is if you make some sort of sexual joke and she laughs at it. So one thing that I really like to do is I like to misinterpret things that she says as if she is into me. So if she asks if I have any plans for the weekend, I'm going to act like she's about to ask me out on a date, and I'm going to give her shit about it. So I might say, well, you know, I have some plans, but like if you're asking me out on a date, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to figure out if we like each other. By saying that, I'm going to see her reaction, and if she's laughing at that, if she's giggling, if she's getting a little nervous when I'm being very cocky and she's reacting in that way, it's a very good sign that she likes you. If she's very reactive to you acting very cocky or confident, then it's a very, very, very good sign that she's sexually attracted to you. The sixth sign is when you touch her, how much of a green light does she give you? Does she lean into you when you give her a hug? Does she relax more when you touch her? Or is she very stiff? Does she stiffen up when you touch her? These are small things that you can read into the interaction and try to figure out, okay, how can I actually gauge how interested in me this girl is? And there's a lot of ways you can actually gauge this in terms of how to touch her. I actually talk about this a lot in my coaching programs, where I have this red light, green light, yellow light system. A red light is when she doesn't give you any compliance. She doesn't move ahead with anything you do, or she stiffens up with something that you're trying to do. So if she gives you a yellow light, it's more like a neutral response. And obviously, like, that's a sign that you probably stay at the same level of escalation. But if she gives you a green light and you give her a hug and she leans into you, buries her face in your chest, if she's very touchy with you after that, that's a very, very good sign. The seventh sign that a girl is into you is if you try to move things forward or lead and she follows your lead. So for example, if I stop a girl on the streets and I say, hey, let's move over here for a second so I can hit on you. If I say that and then she moves with me, that's a very good sign that she is attracted to me. Okay, so I will do these little compliance tests throughout my interactions just to kind of feel out the vibe of where the girl is at and how into me she actually is. There are 10 brutal conversation mistakes that make most men very boring, where they get rejected, girls don't take them seriously, and they get locked in the friend zone forever. And these are mistakes I made in the past and had to correct if I wanted to go from this guy who couldn't talk to girls without shaking to now this guy that can go up to any woman that I want and approach very consistently and have very consistent dates whenever I want from cold approach. So if you want to go from reactions like this,
I feel like I feel like you're following me. Oh, okay. That's crazy. To reactions like this. Super random. I just saw your whole outfit and vibe, and I thought it was very cool.
Thank you so much.
So I figured I would come up and say hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's the accent?
Then you're going to want to watch this video. The first mistake that most guys make is expecting too much from the girl to carry the conversation when they approach. At the end of the day, when you are approaching her. It's not the other way around. Women will have a firewall response, and that should be expected. You should expect a firewall response to happen. You will need to spike her emotions enough to get her in the mood to engage in more conversation with you. If you have these conversations that go 1-2 minutes and nothing really moves forward, it's because you need to spike emotions and take the lead emotionally with the conversation. And one way to fix this is actually just by talking about stuff you want to talk about. I met this girl in the lobby at my apartment complex, and we were standing by like the kiosk, and they have like these coolers with energy drinks, and they can, you can buy them. And what I ended up saying that blew the conversation more wide open was I just got really passionate about how the prices on some of these are fucking crazy. Like some of the ice creams are like $10, but then the energy drinks are like $2.50, like less than you would charge at a gas station. And I just always think that's like super fucking weird at my apartment. Like, I don't know why it's like that. And that was something that I was passionate about, and I was able to show some emotional range by talking about something that I'm genuinely passionate about or have a strong opinion on. The next thing that's an obvious mistake that I think a lot of you guys know you're making is playing it too safe with interview mode. Just asking rapid fire questions with no emotion, no personal stakes in the conversation, no personal input in the conversation. It makes her feel like she's filling out a survey. It's not a very fun thing to do. So if a guy's going to come up to you, interrupt your day, if you want to break out of your boring day-to-day life, you don't want to go through a fucking job interview. So one way that you can fix this, the rapid fire question thing, is replace every other question that you ask with a statement. So instead of, oh, how tall are you? You could say, oh, you're short. Just make an observation about her, or make a cold read, make an assumption about her based on something that you noticed about her appearance. The third mistake is just over-explaining and justifying yourself. If you're explaining too much about yourself or why you're cool, you've already lost at that point. There's a big difference between saying something like, I'm actually really funny once you get to know me, and having like a please approve of me type of vibe about you, and being able to display value in kind of a cocky and funny way. One thing I like to do is I actually will say like, yeah, I'm very cool, smart, I'm intelligent. I'm also very humble. And by balancing out the bragging with a joke, kind of making fun of myself for having a big ego, it opens the girl up a lot more, and you can still display a lot of value without showing that you're looking for her approval. The fourth mistake that guys make is never showing any intent within the first 5 minutes of the conversation. If she has to guess if you are trying to be her friend versus flirting with her or hitting on her, then you are already in the friend zone. So one thing that I like to do here that you can easily implement is use what's called a throwaway compliment. So an example of this would be me saying, oh, you have really pretty eyes, by the way, and then move on immediately to talk about your dog or whatever the fuck is going on in your life. Just move on very quickly where you're not waiting for a reaction. The fifth mistake that most guys make is agreeing with everything that the girl says. You don't have to disagree just for the sake of disagreeing, but there are going to be things that you actually disagree with. If she says she likes sushi and you don't like sushi, be like, ugh, raw fish is fucking gross to me. And then you just move on very quickly. You don't have to sit and debate with her on the merits of whether or not it's good to like sushi, but disagreeing and stating your opinion in a bold, unapologetic way is very, very good. But remember, do not get caught in this trap of debate. You're not there to debate her and win her over and prove that you know what's best or that your opinion is right. You're just there to show her that you're not a puppy dog that's going to go on with whatever she says. The sixth mistake that guys make is no emotional range. So you have a flat tone, poker face, zero emotional spikes, zero energy. And that creates zero chemistry. If you're just talking to a girl like this and keeping it very, playing it safe, that's very hard. So I like to talk about things that I want to talk about. So if I want to talk about some nerdy shit that I'm into at the time, I will talk about it. If I want to talk about my dating business, I'm going to talk about that shit because I'm passionate about social dynamics, dating dynamics, talking to women, all of this kind of nerdy shit that I'm into. That kind of stuff gets me riled up and makes me feel on fire. So if that is for you, some podcasts you listen to that were talking about like health stuff or whatever, you can talk about that. But a lot of guys will talk about what they think is normal And that's not actually attractive. You want to talk about things that you genuinely want to talk about. So if that's fucking Pokemon, bro, talk about Pokemon a little bit. Be like, yeah, honestly, I love Pokemon. I've always loved it since I was a kid. And if it makes you smile when you talk about it, that's a good sign that it's something you should be talking about and injecting into your interactions. The 7th brutal mistake that guys make is validation fishing. Okay, waiting to see what her reaction is going to be when you make a joke or you show intent. So an example of that would be like me saying, oh, you're really pretty. And like waiting for the reaction, waiting for what she's going to say. The way you fix this is by finding things that you think are fun to talk about. So going back on my last example, talking about things that you think are funny, things that you think are fun to inject into the interaction. And some of this is going to take some trial and error. Looking at like a lot of these POV guys, there's a lot of guys on Instagram and TikTok, guys on social media that post like the POV stuff. I do a lot of that stuff as well. And finding lines or openers or things that you like to say in the interaction that you think are funny that fire you up. So a few examples that I like to do is I like to just show a lot of intent up front because I think it's really fun to be over the top. So if I open a girl and I'm like, hey, excuse me, I love you, let's get married. I will say that, and I'll say it super over the top. And from my experience, it's not the fact that I'm showing intent up front. Being direct is technically like not as good of game, but it's the vibe that I bring into the interaction that I'm focused on my own fun. And I said this because I think it'd be funny to say to a random girl, not because I think it's going to work on her. I also like if a girl says something that is kind of like giving me shit about something, I'll make a joke where I say like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. And I think it's so funny. Like I every time I do it, because it's so out of pocket, I think it's so funny to do. So you can find these kind of out of pocket things to say in the interaction that boost your own state. One opener that I like that just boosts my own state that I've been using lately is, what's your favorite Pokemon? I just be like, hey, excuse me, favorite Pokemon, go, what is it? And it starts a conversation, and I think it's funny. I'm not even really that into Pokemon. I haven't seen the show in like 10 years. I never collected the cards, but I think it's like a funny thing to be able to like open with, you know. I just think it's funny. And so because of that, I'm focused on my own state, my own good time. She's going to pick up on that, the law of emotional mirroring that I talk about in this channel. She's going to pick up on my vibe, and she's going to feel like, oh, okay, it would be better for me to break out of my normal gray autopilot day and talk to this guy because he's having fun and I want to have fun too. That's going to be much more attractive and make her, you know, extend the conversation and open up a lot more and break through that firewall response that most girls will give when you do approach. The 8th mistake that guys make is reacting to every single little thing that she says, whether it's over laughing, over smiling, overreacting to get approval, like, oh, that's really cool. One example of this is after everything she says, oh, nice, oh, nice, oh, that's cool, right? For everything she says, it completely takes out all of the authenticity, and it takes away all the value of you giving her validation later. If you're just everything she says, oh, cool, yeah, I agree, that's awesome, that's awesome, that's awesome, it just comes off like you don't actually have an opinion and you're just saying that to please her. Another example where this shows up is needing to answer every single part of what she just said. So if she talks about 3 different things in the sentence, she talks about what she does for work, where she's from, and she mentions that she has a dog, like going into every single thing and logically answering, it keeps the conversation on such a logical track rather than just picking one thing that you want to talk about, letting go of logic and moving the conversation towards things that you want to talk about, or spiking emotions through flirting and teasing with the girl, which I have other videos on this channel on how to do. Another thing you can do to kind of fix this is misinterpret things that she says as if she's hitting on you or showing intent to you. So if she says she doesn't like coffee, you could be like, oh yeah, I'm not a fan of coffee dates either, so I guess we're doing drinks, right? You could make that assumption that you're talking about going on a date with her. Those things, obviously when you say it in not a fucking teaching tone, because I'm in my fucking coaching mode right now, but when you say that in like a fun, relaxed way, where you're saying it to move the conversation forward and to be bold as fuck and be very sure of yourself, that is very attractive. So you want to try to inject as much of that into the interaction as possible. The 9th mistake that guys make that's really brutal and never good is playing it very safe for the entire interaction. If you avoid taking risks in the interaction, you'll never actually trigger attraction and spike her emotions. Women are fueled by, you know, what they find attractive is fueled by emotions, how they feel around you, and not just how they feel, if they feel good or bad, but the variety of emotions that they feel. So you want to create an emotional roller coaster when you talk to the girl. So some examples of risks that you can actually take in the interaction is, one, if she disagrees with you on something or you disagree with her, you can say, oh, see, this is why it would never work between us. Or if she says she's from a place that you've been to and you didn't really like it, oh, well, it was nice to meet you, and pretend like you're gonna walk away. Another thing that I don't talk as much about on this channel, but I think it's really helpful, is the cocky funny mindset, or the cocky funny attitude. So cocky plus funny basically just looks like me saying, and I actually said this to a girl at the gym maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it worked out really well, where I just will make this joke like, yeah, honestly, like women, they kind of follow me around all the time, and it's just, I get approached all the time just because I'm so good looking and so charming, and I'm glad you're being cool right now. You're not like making it a big deal, putting me on a pedestal. And when I do that, it shows that, one, I'm confident in myself, but it also shows that like I'm not taking myself so seriously, because I'm willing to be super cocky and say this kind of stuff in kind of a sarcastic way. The 10th and most brutal mistake that guys make is they self-reject and they let the conversation die without leading. Now, the thing is, pauses will happen, but if you want to lead the conversation, you need to continue the conversation, even if there is an awkward silence. What I like to do is remember that awkward is a mindset. Something being awkward takes 2 people to make it awkward. So a couple things that I like to do, I'll do this on dates especially, or if I'm at night game, but I like doing this during the day as well, is when there's an awkward silence or I can't think of anything to say, I'll just be like, so, and I'll do like this really drawn out, like kind of awkward thing. And it kind of breaks the tension. It breaks the awkwardness that was starting to build up. So I really like to do that. And you obviously have to move on with something fun. And I think the reason that works out so well is because I think it's funny. And so by making it more awkward, it boosts my state, and then I'm less in my head. Another one that I think is really funny is like that meme where you're like, are we about to kiss right now?
Are we about to kiss right now?
And you like say it like that while you're looking at her. And honestly, the earlier on in the interaction you say it, especially if you're not leaning in to kiss her or do anything like that, it comes off clearly as a joke and like very sarcastic. And that breaks a lot of tension.
If you clicked on this video, it's probably because women don't take you seriously because you're just too nice. Women want to be friends with you, but they never want to date you. And I used to be that guy too. Women didn't take me seriously. It continually led me to getting lost in the sauce because I was just too nice, chasing validation from girls that never even showed any interest back and would just give me enough to make me feel like I had a little bit of hope, but never actually ended up dating me. And in this video, I'm going to show you where being too nice comes from so you can deal with it yourself. And I'm going to give you a practical guide that you can use in your own life to never have this problem again. The first thing you have to understand about being too nice and where it comes from is that being too nice is actually just a very nice word for not authentically being yourself. You're attracted to a girl, so you agree with everything she says rather than teasing her and flirting. You really like this girl, so you treat her differently than every other girl that you talk to. And you feel like you have to do something special and perform to make her like you rather than actually being the most authentic and badass version of yourself. And every single guy watching this video, including you, has the ability to stop being too nice and start changing how seriously women take you so that you can build lots of attraction up front very quickly. But you need to know these pieces of advice that I'm going to give you in this video. The main core problem here is that being too nice, being nice to a girl creates no tension, creates no polarized dynamic, and it's too predictable. If you say yes and agree with everything the girl says, or you just compliment her and every emotion the girl feels is just positive, especially when it's coming from a place of inauthenticity, then women will never be able to trust you. They will never take you seriously. Women crave a man who leads them, challenges them, and spikes their emotions. Women just want to feel emotions. And this is the biggest shift that I ever had to make when I was 19, 20. I couldn't talk to girls without shaking, is realizing that any emotion, if it's strong, is good when it comes to building attraction. Women need to feel something when they talk to you. So like in my own life, when I was in college, there was this girl that was also a freshman in college, and I really liked her and we were friends, and I was like really just obsessed with getting her validation. And I would show interest and I would flirt with her and I would be really nice, but I wouldn't tease her. I never pushed her away. I never challenged her. And this made it feel like I was always the one chasing, and she never had any room to feel any emotions other than just good feelings. And if a woman just feels good feelings around you, she will view you as a friend. There is this concept that I like to talk about called the platonic blindfold. And this is going to totally change your life. When you realize that women are not like men in the sense that women see a guy and they immediately see a friend. They don't see, oh, this is a Giga Chad that I want to date. They don't see that. What they see is they see a person that they view as a friend first, and you need to take off that platonic blindfold for them so they can even see you as an option. And the way you do this is through emotional spikes and teasing. So this can be something as simple as she says she likes rap music, or she says she likes sushi, and you're like, oh my God, I fucking hate sushi. And it has to be something that's truly authentic to you. But genuinely being able to disagree and have strong opinions on things is the first actual practical step to breaking this platonic barrier with the girl that you're talking to. So if you ever have a girl in your life where you're just friends and you want to be more than friends, don't start by showing interest and confessing your love to her. Start by disagreeing with her. Start by saying, oh my God, I fucking hate that. That's ridiculous. And standing on that. And when you disagree with her, you will immediately see that she will light up at the first sign of a guy that has a backbone, because she doesn't see you like that right now. And this is the biggest issue. I see so many guys, including myself whenever I was learning this stuff, that just care about getting positive reactions from the girl, because it makes sense. If she's always positive towards you, then obviously that's a good thing. It means she might like me. It means that I have a chance. But it doesn't actually mean that. All that it means is that she likes you as a friend, and she wants to be around you as a friend, and you give her good emotions, and that is a consistent form of good emotions, and she doesn't want to mess with that, so she's never going to want to date you. But if you're the type of guy that is not afraid to offend her and is okay with disagreeing or giving her shit about something, or saying, oh my God, I can't believe you like that, you're such a fucking dork. If you can say that to a girl without fear of loss, without fear that she's going to walk away, then it's going to be so much easier to spike attraction with this girl. What you need to shift from is from approval seeking to bold, authentic, and real standards that you have for yourself. So what I would suggest doing is I would write down things that you have strong opinions on. Just start with 10 things that you have very strong opinions on. And instead of saying, oh, I like this thing, I love this thing. I love video games. I love that movie. I fucking hate that movie. It's so shit. It's awful. Having strong opinions is the easiest way to become a guy that is not too nice. And it might feel really bad because you're not used to creating tension when you talk to a woman or when you talk to a girl that you're attracted to. But I promise you, once you can start disagreeing and having strong opinions about things, this is the first step in not being too nice and creating tension. And if some girls don't like you because of that, if some people don't like you because of that, that is actually a good thing. You don't want everyone to like you. That is a guy that girls don't like, okay? You want most people to really like you because you're authentic, you're yourself, but some people should really not like you. Like, there are people that genuinely think I'm a fucking piece of shit because of what I teach online. Like, I teach guys how to build confidence, and I coach guys, and guys pay me thousands of dollars to teach them how to talk to women and get better at the skill of attraction. And some people think that's super weird. But I'm very proud of it, and I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, yeah, it is kind of weird. I can see where you're coming from, and maybe you are right. I've thought about this shit. Anything that you have a strong opinion on, you've probably thought about. So it's okay to state that strong opinion. And if you end up wanting to change your opinion, that's also fine. It doesn't make you a beta. It doesn't make you a fucking loser. You just are a guy that's willing to go with what's right, and you're willing to go with the truth. And so if you find out, oh, wait, maybe because now I'm expressing my opinion on something, I realize I'm actually not right, and what I thought before was super cringe and lame, and I don't really agree with that, then you're actually going to be at a point where you can change and grow. And that's how you can get even stronger opinions in the future, because you get challenged on them and then you change what your thought process is, and you're like, oh shit, okay, I actually believe this and this and this. So what are some practical things outside of having stronger opinions that you can actually do? Some real life examples. The first thing that you can do is start saying what you actually think. So look for opportunities in interactions to disagree and state your opinion. Don't disagree with things that you don't disagree with, but look for opportunities to state your opinion, even if it's as simple as someone's talking about something, you're like, oh yeah, I actually disagree with that. Even if it's just that and you don't expand on it, that is okay. That's how I started, right? Being able to say, oh yeah, I actually don't think that. I actually think this. And then you move on from it. It's not really that big of a deal. The next practical step is being willing to walk away. One very practical tip that I give my clients inside my coaching program, if you want to apply, the link's down in the description. One practical tip I give them is I tell them to playfully act like they're going to walk away from the girl when they approach. So the girl says, oh, I'm from Toronto. Oh my God, another girl from Toronto? All right, well, it was nice to meet you. And pretend like you're going to walk away. And this might feel really scary. It might feel really hard and it might feel rude. But I promise you, playfully taking away and playfully walking away is actually a very strong emotional spike. It's going to feel very fucking foreign to you. It's going to feel very, very foreign. It's going to be really weird to set boundaries and be okay with walking away, be okay with offending her, but it's a very, very good way to build attraction with the girl. The third piece of practical advice is to tease and be playful with her and challenge her on things. So a few things I really like to say is during the interaction, see, this is why it would never work between us. Like we're just too different. Being able to say things that challenge her or disqualify her from being able to date you, especially when you haven't shown a ton of intent and you say, hey, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work out between us. I don't know. We're going to have to see after the first date. This might not work. By being able to say that, one, you're acknowledging that it might not work and you're okay with that. So it's showing that you're willing to walk away and you're willing to not get her, which shows no fear of loss, and it's very, very attractive. But the second thing is that it also helps with establishing that you have standards and you have boundaries and you're going to be yourself even if she doesn't like what you have to say. The third piece of practical advice here is to put your purpose first, not validation. So your purpose right now, if you're watching this channel a lot, might be to get better with women and get better at socializing. So sticking it in the interaction, even if it's not going well, just because it makes you anxious and makes you uncomfortable and you want to get more comfortable in interactions with girls, that's actually putting your purpose first. The same thing with going up and talking to this group of 6 girls. It's not chasing validation from the girls. You're going up to them because it makes you uncomfortable and it's pushing your comfort zone. And that is what matters the most. If your purpose at that moment is, I got to get back to my workout, then you can cut the interaction at the gym short and you can be like, hey, I got to get back to my workout. It was nice meeting you. Have a good day, right? Or, hey, let me grab your number. I got to get back to my workout. And you're just focused on what you need to do in that interaction. And this comes down to being able to disagree with her as well. If you have values and standards or things that you genuinely think, being able to express that opinion and be like, no, I actually think this, even if you're afraid she's going to walk away, that shows that you put your purpose and your values and what you care about first over her validation, which is the most important thing. Being too nice fundamentally comes down to you chasing validation from the girl, and I want positive reactions from the girl at all costs. I'm willing to sacrifice my values. I'm willing to sacrifice how she views me. I'm willing to sacrifice everything that I say in order to just say, oh, I got validation from this girl. And one, that's not going to make you feel good about yourself. But two, she's not going to respect that either. She's not going to be attracted to a guy that is willing to sacrifice everything that he believes in order to get her to like him. So if you find yourself saying, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. After everything she says, and you're just reacting, trying to put on a show to get her to stay in the interaction with you rather than having a grounded, entitled mindset of, I'm the shit. I like myself. She's going to stay in the interaction because I'm awesome. If you are performing for the girl and you're reacting heavily to everything she says, that is going to be very unattractive. It's going to be a turnoff, and she might want to hang out with you, but just as friends. So at the end of the day, the message that I have for all of the nice guys watching this video right now is I want you to be more true to who you are and not the results that you are getting. I know it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds counterintuitive because if the girl doesn't like you, then that means you're not doing something right. But I promise you, girls can be like, oh, this guy's kind of a dick. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this guy. That is better than her being like, oh yeah, he's a really good guy. Oh, he's really great. I like this guy. That's not going to turn her on. That's not going to get her attracted, because ultimately, if you can't disagree with her, if you can't stand up for yourself with her, and you care too much about what she thinks, how is she going to feel safe with you? How is she going to feel like you can handle any of these situations? Whether this is an awkward situation in public, being able to stick in an interaction when you're nervous,
or just being able to disagree with her on something simple that doesn't really matter. You can date a girl where one of you likes sushi and one of you doesn't. You go to the sushi restaurant, she gets her sushi and you get your fucking fried rice or whatever. It is okay to disagree with the girl. These things are not deal breakers, especially when you feel really strongly about these things. So just to wrap up, guys, state your opinion on things and don't back down from them. And if you end up changing your position, that's okay. That's fine. But always stand up for what you believe and what you think. Be bold, real, and authentic. And if she doesn't want to date you because of that, awesome. There's other girls that do. And I promise you, if you are the most bold, authentic, real version of yourself that doesn't back down when things get awkward or tension comes up, and you can deal with some awkward silences, you can deal with not knowing if she likes you, not being able to read her, if you can deal with a little bit of lack of validation up front, I promise you, women will turn into this very feminine, soft, loving kind of vibe around you, and they will be so much more attracted to you and so much more likely to chase. Attraction is not just about money and looks. There's a secret emotional switch inside of every girl's mind that you need to flip in order to get her to be attracted to you. And there's a way to do it very consistently. So instead of relying on luck and just chancing into flipping the switch for a girl that you're talking to that, oh boy, I hope she likes me, I actually made a very proven method called the brain switch method that will help you flip that emotional switch every single time using proven attraction triggers to spike emotions in the girl. I used to be a guy that really struggled with sparking attraction in girls. Girls didn't take me seriously. I literally couldn't talk to girls without shaking. And after 10 plus years of approaching very consistently, going from this guy who was too shy to talk to girls without shaking, to this guy who didn't really know how to hold the frame in a relationship, to now a guy that posts videos online for hundreds of thousands of guys to see, of me actually approaching girls in real life and getting real results, I feel like I can confidently talk about this. So trigger number one of the brain switch method is taking risks in the interaction. There are a couple ways that you can do this. First, you can state your opinion without apologizing or hedging. A lot of guys will have opinions on things, but they state them in such this soft, like pussified way. So for example, if a girl says she likes sushi and you don't like sushi, you're too scared to say, I fucking hate sushi. So you say, oh yeah, I'm not really that big of a fan of sushi. I don't really know. I've had it a couple times. Instead of just saying what you fucking mean by saying, yeah, I fucking hate sushi. I cannot stand that shit. I don't know how you eat it. Being able to say that and hold eye contact and be okay with stating your opinion and not worrying about, oh my God, if my opinions on sushi, my opinions on raw fish make her walk away, what am I going to do? It shows a lot more confidence in yourself. And that triggers the emotional switch inside of her brain to say, okay, I should take this guy seriously because he's actually confident and actually has opinions. He's not going to bullshit me just to get me to like him. Another way to use this risk-taking emotional trigger is by making jokes that might offend her. So one really common thing is when I'm talking about what I do for work with women, a lot of them will be like, oh, is that like weird kind of red pill shit? And I'll make the joke, yeah, no, I actually hate women. And I'll say it, I'll be smiling, I'll say it in a sarcastic way, but I'm holding eye contact the whole fucking time. I'm not worried about, oh my God, is she going to think I'm actually a misogynistic piece of shit? I just make the fucking joke. And if she's like, wait, seriously? Like, no, I'm fucking with you, right? And I can confidently do that, and I'm willing to take risks and say things that allow her to walk away. So before I get into the other two emotional triggers for this video, I need you guys to understand why most guys actually fail at this. Most of you, when you approach or when you talk to a girl that you really like, you fall back into logic because that's your safe place. You're too reactive and you're too focused on her and not your own good time. You have to focus when you talk to women, and this completely blew my mind when I first learned it, but there's this law of emotional mirroring. Women will feel exactly how you feel. And so if you're focused more on her and her emotional state, you're now in a feminine reactive mode, and that makes you much less attractive, and it makes it impossible to trigger that emotional switch and actually make that brain switch for her so she can start thinking about you as an option. I promise you guys, if you actually feel alive and feel like you're having fun in the interaction, then she is going to feel that too. And you can even take personal experience from this. I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you actually met somebody that you felt like is truly feeling alive, living his life, having fun when he's going out and talking to people, right? It's pretty rare you meet people that are genuinely just focused on making sure he's having a good time and everyone else is having a good time around him. This guy is usually the life of the party, not always, but he's usually the life of the party, and people want to be around him. People invite him to stuff because they want him to
be there to help everyone else have fun. I have a friend that's like this named Chris. Chris is the shit, dude. He's like always having a good time. He's always stating his opinion, and he just doesn't give a fuck. And these guys are so good to have around because they're just focused on having fun, and they want other people to have fun from a very genuine place as well. And if you have this vibe going into the interaction, then she's going to be so much more attracted, and she's going to want to stick around. Women don't want to go through their boring normal day just to get interrupted by another guy going through his boring normal day and not having any fun with his interactions. That's just not what it is. Yeah, sure, if you're like a high value guy, whatever, it can be good sometimes, and you can get some dates through just having logical, normal, boring conversation that's kind of polite and nice. But if you're an average guy that doesn't have, a ton of massive advantages like super good looks, or, you have access to a lot of resources like money and taking her to nice places, then it's going to be pretty tough to trigger that emotional response if you're from this logical place. Women will always feel how you feel. I cannot say it enough. Women will feel how you feel. She will feel if you're having fun. She will feel if you have an agenda. She will feel if you're worried about her opinion of you. And any of these things will basically turn off this brain switch for her for good. You're in the friend zone, you're fucked, and you're done. And you're going to have to do a lot of work to get out of that by spiking even more emotions. And that might even make you lose the girl because you're too heavy on the emotional spikes. But it's the only way you can save it. So to explain this brain switch method in more detail, what you need to understand is that women feel attraction when they feel emotions. Not when they feel good emotions, not when they feel bad emotions, but when they feel a wide variety of emotion. So when you go into an interaction with a girl, you need to understand that emotions in general are good, which I know is like uncomfortable for a lot of guys. It's very hard. I was really emotionally stunted kind of growing up, and I didn't really know how to talk about how I feel about stuff. And I still even get a little weird talking more about like my feelings and things like that. But when you can get comfortable talking about how things make you feel, whether it's positive or like, oh my God, I fucking hate that. When you can be more emotionally expressive, not emotionally reactive, but emotionally expressive, that unlocks that brain switch for her to flip that. And now it's possible for her to see you as an option. So from now on, when you talk to a girl, what I want you to do is I want you to think, how can I trigger emotions in general with this girl? Not just how can I trigger good emotions? Oh man, that was a really good conversation. Doesn't matter if it was good. I would argue if it's positive the whole time and there's no takeaway or emotional strip that happens there, you don't take away some validation or make her kind of question things. If she's not walking away from the conversation like, what the fuck was that? Then it's a lot less likely to lead to a date. If she walks away going, oh, that was nice, that was pleasant, that was fun, it's going to be okay, and you'll get some dates from that. But in general, if you have a wider variety of emotions, which I'm going to show you how to do in the rest of the video, you will have a lot more solid phone numbers and a lot more solid results that will actually lead to a date with the girl, which is ultimately like, that's what we want. We want to have options so we can pick the girl that we actually want in our life. So emotional trigger number 2, teasing and playful banter. I'm going to give you some very practical examples that you can literally steal. These are directly from my coaching programs. I'm not hiding anything in this video. I want to give you the best of the best sauce so that you know that this shit works and that honestly, probably you want to pay me, right? Like if I can help you implement these things over YouTube, then chances are if we work together in person or we work together online, that's actually going to help you a whole lot more because you'll have accountability, you'll have actual coaching. So emotional trigger number 2 is playful banter and teasing. I'm going to give you 2 examples of what that looks like that you can actually steal. I'm going to give you a mindset that you can implement into your everyday life so you can start to actually learn the stuff. Line number 1 is, this is why it wouldn't work between us. So go back to the sushi example before. She likes sushi. You don't like sushi. See, this is why it wouldn't work between us. You like raw fish too much. I can't do it. I don't know about this. You're going to have to really make up for that. Being able to tease her and push her away in a confident way, holding eye contact, right? Holding eye contact is very fucking important, okay? Being able to hold eye contact after you tease her, after you take this risk, not waiting for a reaction like, what are you going to say? And like acting nervous, but saying it, holding your ground, remaining calm. See, this is why it wouldn't work between us. And holding the eye contact, you're going to feel the tension, but you want to hold it because it shows that you're actually confident and you're not afraid she's going to walk away. This eliminates all fear of loss, which is one of the most unattractive behaviors. It's going to turn off that brain switch for her. The second line is, you're cute, but I'm just not sure about you yet. When you say this, you want to remember, hold eye contact. When you say this, it shows you're not afraid to show some intent, but you're also not afraid of her walking away because you're disqualifying her a bit.
And you can also see how it creates a bit of an up and down, right? A bit of a push and pull. Positive emotion, you're cute, but, and it takes it away. And now she's like, oh, he's not sure about me. Now you have to deliver this in an authentic way. It can't be like, you're cute, but I'm not sure about you. I'm so fucking sick with my line. It's like, that's a little weird, right? It's going to come off like you want a reaction. And that's just going to be unattractive. So one mindset that I really like for these kinds of teases is a cocky plus funny mindset. All right. So first of all, acting overly cocky for me and for a lot of my clients, it's actually really fun, especially if you're the type of guy that's always really nice and it's hard for you to be cocky. It's like you're putting on an alter ego and you're just like having fun with it, which ultimately will trigger that law of emotional mirroring. She can tell that you're having fun by being cocky in the interaction and acting as if she's attracted to you and assuming a lot of attraction. So if you act like she's in love with you, first, it's going to be fun, right? And so it's going to make it so much easier for you to trigger that emotional mirroring law. But also when you trigger that fun within yourself and you're actually having fun with the interaction, it doesn't come off douchey. It doesn't come off super try hard and like you're trying to qualify to her, which is ultimately the unattractive part of being cocky. If you're cocky from a place of being fun, then that's very powerful. So I'll give you an example of this cocky, funny attitude in emotional trigger number 3. Emotional trigger number 3 is to stay unreactive when there's pressure or when she shit tests you. Let's say you say something over the top and cocky, like, yeah, so when we get married, we're gonna have like some crazy kids. And she's like, oh, you're pretty cocky, huh? Right? That's like a very common shit test if you go in with this cocky, funny attitude. The way I would probably handle that by remaining unreactive, and I say this a lot, is, yeah, no, I'm like super full of myself. And I just stop and I let there be silence and I sit in attention. And immediately you'll see her get giggly, start, oh my God, she gets a little nervous. That is what attraction looks like. It doesn't look like her smiling and having a great time the whole time. It looks like her having a nervous response, a positive nervous response, but still a nervous response and holding that tension. I'd be lying to you if I told you that this is going to be something that overnight fixes everything and you're never going to get stuck in the friend zone again. But if you consistently practice this, you will start to see this emotional brain switch flip inside the girl. Girls will start getting bubbly, nervous talking to you. They'll start giggling and start treating you in this very soft, feminine way. And that's how you know it's working. So if you implement this daily, women will respond differently to you. Now, if you want to skip all the trial and error and get real life examples from me, get live coaching in the field on a call. If you want to get one-on-one coaching every single week with me, there's a link in the description or the pinned comment on this video, and you can apply to work inside my Attraction Accelerator system. This is not for everybody, but I do have offers for everybody and every budget, whether it's free content, my community group, or one-on-one personal coaching, or even like my highest ticket premium coaching where I do in-person coaching here in Nashville, Tennessee. All right. So click the links below if you want more help from me. If not, enjoy the videos, comment below, let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.